All right. Welcome, everybody. Ged, how's it going, bud?
It's been a minute, that's for sure.
It has.
It has been an
Uh,
absolute minute.
Keeping busy, I suppose.
Oh, it's funny as anyone who watches this probably doesn't know, but I left the corporate world for kind of the venture and entrepreneurism that we are going into for this winter. And everyone's like, "Oh, how's unemployment life?" I literally want to punch people in the face when they say that.
Is that
It
just a
is.
fancy way of saying you want to play more golf?
I mean, you would think that is what I am up to, but everything is about building hype and building interest for the winter, and people want to get leagues in. And yeah, man, it's been great. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't trade it, but it is not easy. That's for sure. What about you? Aren't you like getting married soon or something?
Soon, but enough with that. Give me your build the hype right now. Give me your 10-second elevator speech right now. Build the hype.
All right.
Oh.
So we are building a upscale golf simulator in the city of Guelph, which will give guests who come to it kind of an elevated kind of jazz lounge kind of vibe. It's going to be great not only for the people that normally go to simulators, but people who are new to the game, the better player, female players. We want to create an environment where if you haven't been to a golf simulator, but you want to try it, you feel welcome being there. But also, if you love golf, you're going to go there and you're going to love the tech that we're using. So trying to take it to that next level, and that requires time, patience, knowledge, and more money than I'm comfortable talking about.
So me and my terrible swing will be welcome.
Very welcome. And that's cool. Like, we are going to partner exclusively with all local. So like, we have a beer partner for the next 5 years, Royal City Brewery, who you may know the name of. So we have
sponsored a baseball team or two.
That's right. So we have a deal with them for the next 5 years. They are going to be a 95% exclusivity. We are going to use a food vendor from down the road, Cafe 245, Cheech from the Ward in Guelph. You can also bring in your own food. So if you and your lovely wife want to come in for a date night, you can order a bento box in. We'll have the right bottles of wine there. You can drink whatever Royal City beer you want, and you can enjoy that time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you, buddy.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Well, let's cut to the chase here, and we got. It's been some a little bit of Star Wars stuff in the news, the past couple weeks since last time we spoke.
Talk to me about it. Talk to me.
Well, let's start with the purchasing rumors. These have been going on for a little bit, but they seem to be back in the news again. And more or less, Apple buying Disney. I think market cap wise, Apple could probably buy Disney outright for cash. Apple's just ginormous, right?
Yep.
They just print money. Where Disney has been struggling a little bit. And since Bob Iger's been back in town, if you didn't know who Bob Iger was, you didn't know, much about business practices. But if you saw a returning CEO coming to town and the first thing he does is cost cut and lay people off and trim back everything, you could say he's getting the house ready to show, so to speak.
Fair.
So, people like to say Bob Iger was a builder, and right now he's kind of tearing it down. And I don't get a lot of it, right? Like they're taking stuff off Disney Plus. Like, how much money could it possibly be to keep like Willow on Disney Plus? You know what I mean?
Wait, show?
Yeah,
they pulled it.
They've removed a bunch of properties from Disney Plus, and they said
I didn't finish the show. Damn it!
Could be back in the future. I don't know if they're going to rotate it. Apparently, like Lightyear was going to go, and that was like that's like my daughter's favorite, like newish Disney movie. I don't get all that. And they said, they're going to cut back on the Marvel side of things. Some people have inferred that also meant Star Wars, but just trimming back everything with Disney Plus. Of course, they fired a bunch of people in the parks and, other corporate people. So they're doing a lot of cutting because I guess Disney Plus is losing money. So I don't, me, I'm kind of anti-Apple. You love Apple. So why Apple would buy it for one? What is the Vision Pro? Give me a quick little rundown of what the Vision is. Vision Pro device.
The Vision Pro?
Isn't that their goggles, their VR, their headset?
I haven't looked into it at all, actually.
Oh,
I actually do not know. I'm going to be a massive disappointment on this. I am unaware of this.
okay. So,
But now,
anyways,
but I'm curious. Apple Vision Pro.
I know there is,
Oh,
they potentially want content for that, and from what I understand, content might have to be specifically made. Whether I don't, again, that's what I was hoping you were gonna, I would serve this up to you and you'd hit out the
oh my
technical details, right?
goodness.
Um,
This is crazy. I'm looking at it right now.
yeah.
Whew. Well, I guess the real question is, what would make Apple the buyer?
Well, that's what I'm getting at, right? If they want to launch this big device and no one's going to make content for it, it's going to flop right from the get go, right? If you owned a property, you could ensure that all content would be compatible or exclusive content for it, right? You know what Apple likes to do? They get you in their web and force you to buy everything they have to enjoy everything, which is why
Which
I'm
is what we
not in
do.
that web.
We do
And
that.
you,
That is literally the world that we live in,
yeah,
or
and then
at least the world that we live in at my house. Yeah.
yeah, and my better half upstairs lives in that world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other thing too is
Oh
if
my
you were to,
goodness.
throw on a streaming service at night, right? How many do you go through until you get to Apple Plus, Apple TV?
Well, it's interesting. As someone who lives in the Apple world, you can
Yeah.
actually open the Apple TV app and it will bring all of your streaming services into one house. So I can watch anything using the Apple TV app. Whether it's something I'm watching on Netflix, Disney, Crave, Prime, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So it's kind of a one-stop shop. However, if you're referring to Apple TV Plus stuff,
Only their shows.
I actually, embarrassingly enough, as much as I really, really, really want to watch a couple of them, especially Foundation, which apparently was a massive influence for George Lucas and Star Wars, I have not watched a lot of it. But they are not cheaping out on content. They are spending copious amounts of money trying to bring content to life.
Well, I saw something. I don't know if again, I'm not back up these numbers, but something like Apple spent 2 billion, but if you compare it to Netflix spends 20 billion. Like they they're spending, but they're nowhere near what the big streaming giants spend, right?
But Netflix
So
isn't producing a lot right now, are they? I know they went through a streak where they were.
I think they still are. They're dropping
Are
movies
they?
still. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like for
These things are
example,
nuts.
my personal rankings, right? I would be looking at Netflix. I'd be looking at I love Crave. Crave is only Canadian. So for people in the US, it's probably a mix of like HBO Max with Hulu, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like it's a
Mm-hmm.
random amalgamation of things.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably do that. Disney Plus. Then I'd probably go to Prime next. And
Yeah, it's fair.
then I probably go to Paramount Plus, and
I've
then
never watched anything on Paramount.
and that's where like all like the Yellowstones and stuff like that are hiding.
Halo's
Um,
on there as well, if I remember correctly. Kind
yeah,
of wanted to watch
and
that.
and then my last chance you is Apple. Mind you, I have watched Foundation. It's good, and I just finished Silo, and I thought Silo was incredible. Loved it,
Okay.
but I feel like they just don't have the amount of choice and
They don't have the
selections that other
clout.
people. No,
Like, and I think you just nailed it, right? Like when someone says, "Hey, let's jump on a streaming service and watch something," no one goes, "Oh, let's go to Apple TV Plus."
yeah, let's
No
check out
one
that new
does that
show
at
on
this
there.
point. Yeah.
Yeah. So to roundabout way to your big question is if they did buy Disney, they automatically upgrade their streaming service to potentially the best.
They buy their clout.
Yeah.
And I will say, in the limited stuff I have watched on Apple TV Plus, the
Yeah.
production quality of it in terms of their audio streaming, their video capabilities,
Yeah.
I mean, it is top notch. Like
Yeah.
Netflix stuff. I mean, Netflix has great content. Let's call it duck a duck. And most people that watch it on a TV are never going to know any different. Like it sounds like hot garbage. Like if you're watching it on a system, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Netflix. Maybe it's different in the US. It sounds like hot, sick trash because it's so compressed because there's so many people on it. The one thing I will give Apple TV Plus credit for, when you watch something on there, like it's good. I mean, it's as good as streaming is going to be able to give you, right?
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So I think that's why Apple does it. It's interesting because if Disney Plus is losing money, you want to buy something that's losing money for all your cash reserves. I'm assuming they wouldn't ever do it for just pure cash. They'd probably do shares in there too.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That seems like, and then like you're inheriting the parks. Like, does Apple really want to run parks?
Yeah, that part's
Like,
strange to
yeah.
me.
And like, do you spin that
So
off? But then
is
again,
that
you're gonna have
the
some independent running Disney parks.
like
Like,
is
I
that the
don't get it.
idea? Like when you talk about Apple buying Disney, you're not talking about just the streaming service. You're talking about
The whole damn company.
yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's
And
no way.
that's
I
yeah.
can see them buying the rights to Marvel. I can see them buying their rights to Pixar. I can see them buying their
Yeah.
right to Star Wars even. But there is absolutely no way that I can see Apple buying a theme park. It just
And
it's just not realistic. It's not
no.
functional.
And more or less what I was going to get to as well is it's the rumor's so silly because one, I don't think any regulator would even approve this deal. You can't
No.
you can't have that amalgamation, the combination of those two companies.
No.
It's just
No
you're
governing
yeah,
body is going to approve it. My
no.
grandmother wouldn't approve this deal. Like it literally doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
However, buying the rights to things like the Disney movies, buying the rights to things like the Marvel properties,
Yeah.
I could see them buying that clout because if you take what Apple's been able to do from a production standpoint and you bring that content into it, oh, be amazing.
But then if you license out all your IP then what happens to Disney Plus? Do you just get rid of it?
Maybe Disney Plus becomes part of that purchasable IP.
Yeah.
Maybe
But
Disney
then
Plus is really what is being sold to
yeah.
Apple, not
And
Disney
then
as a company.
And then the other thing too that muddies the waters too, if you were paying all that money, say for Marvel and Star Wars, wouldn't you want your company to maybe have a say as like in regards to content creation instead of just letting Disney keep making it and you just license it? You know what I
Well,
mean?
Apple has the ability to create it, so that would obviously be part of the
Exactly.
deal.
That's why I think they would want to.
Yeah.
But then Disney's
The
not going to
real
give them
question
the
is
rights back.
are they going to hire Kathleen Kennedy?
Yeah. Like would they? And that's the thing. Say they hypothetically bought it. Would they
I'll take
clean
John
house?
Favreau and a pack of pylons, but you can
Yeah.
keep.
Would they fire Kathleen? Would they get rid of Feige? Considering what people think about the track record in the newest phase in a bit.
Well, I don't think so, but that's a bigger conversation, I guess.
Yeah. But
Someone
yeah, I
hits
think
49 home runs in one season. You can't be mad that their 50th wasn't great. Like, just take a fucking log off the fire. Good
I'm
Lord.
like that. You would, there is Feige hate. Can you believe it or not?
I
The social
believe it.
lens.
I
Yeah.
believe it. They go upstairs at 45 years of age and they complain to their mother about it.
Once Endgame and that era of Marvel wrapped up, it's been nonstop complaint city. Groaning. It sounds like Star Wars fans on Marvel
It's the
side now.
same thing. You and I have had this conversation. The first
Yeah.
three phases of Marvel are the Star Wars of our generation. It is as good as it's ever going to get. You can't replicate it. You can't beat it. You just have to be okay with the fact that it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's the same thing with Star Wars, right? Like it is so hard to hit, like you said, a home run every single time you put out a piece of property
Yeah.
because one, maybe you're not hitting home runs, but secondly, maybe fans get tired of absolute home runs the way you've been doing it, and you got to do it a different way, and you just don't know how because
you're a baseball guy, right?
Kind of, obviously.
Right. So you follow the MLB. Do you remember a couple years ago when Shohei Ohtani started pitching and crushing dingers?
He still is.
That's right.
Yeah.
But everybody talked about it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now he's just pitching well and crushing dingers. Nobody's horny about it. Like you get to a point.
He's pretty special. He's pretty special.
He is, but like as someone who doesn't follow
baseball
the MLB,
nerd. Okay, yeah.
like
no, let me rephrase that. Baseball nerds are still excited, but the general fan is just like, yeah, all right. I've seen
2 years ago or whatever it was. That's all I heard about when I watched Sports Center with Jay on right in the morning, which I do every single morning. All I would hear about is Ohtani. Don't get me wrong; he is still an extremely special player. He will go down as way up there. But my Sports Center feed is not overtaken by Shohei Ohtani anymore. You know why?
Everything.
Because they're used to him crushing dingers and striking people out. Like, yeah.
I hear you.
By the way, these Apple Vision goggles, I keep looking over. That's what I'm doing. My God.
Did you look at the price tag on them?
Did not. How much are they?
I'm not even sure, but I want to say
just have it notify me. I don't even see a buy option.
This is a complete shot in the dark, but I could have sworn they were over 3 Gs. I could be wrong. Any other thoughts on Apple and Disney getting in bed, other than it's probably not going to happen?
I'm not against
it. Stop talking about it.
I'm not against it as long as it's only the Disney Plus properties.
Yeah,
use it for
the talk, and the talk has been the whole company, like basically Apple purchasing all of Disney and
$3,500 US.
Yeah, so over 4 Gs Canadian. Yeah,
interesting.
Kelsey's mom's gonna buy them and not know how to use them, but she's gonna have them. She will have them day one.
Day one.
That's that
$3,500 US.
As much as I can't stand Apple, I got to give them all the credit in the world for their marketing and brand building, because you just have people who will just shill out money no matter what you do. You could re-release the iPhone 5 and call it a vintage throwback and charge $2,000 and people will buy it.
100%. Yep. Yeah. I think we should put that to bed. Yeah, I don't hate the idea of Apple buying Disney Plus, but stay away from the theme parks. It's not your jam.
And that's the thing. And like, can you imagine Disney not owning their own content? You know what I mean? Or not controlling their own theme parks? It seems ridiculous.
Theme parks, no, but content,
like Disney's a prestigious brand. They got to figure out what to do there. Okay, let's switch gears. Ahsoka. I know you were pretty excited when you saw the trailer. I've seen it a few times. Let's break down some of the more things, interesting pieces of it.
All right, what do you got?
All right. First up, the Inquisitor. So I have a short on it, on speculating who it would be. Since that short's been out, they've actually released the name of the Inquisitor.
Okay.
So the Inquisitor's name is Marok, or Marok, Marrok.
Okay.
So the Marok is played by Paul Barnell, who happens to be a stuntman. And you know what happens when stuntmen play roles in masks, right? Probably not going to see whoever who's underneath that mask.
Nope.
Unless they're like, I don't know. Unless it's a big fake out or whatever. But my initial thought on the Inquisitor, number one, it makes no sense that there's an Inquisitor, right? Because we're post the fall of the Empire. The Inquisitors were created by Vader, Palpatine, to hunt down and kill the remaining Jedis from Order 66.
Correct.
We are a significant period of time past that.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It makes no, like, who are they reporting to? And why are they still worried about Jedi? You know what I mean? Like, why aren't you going, like they're theoretically, I know there's a bunch of Jedis now alive, but like the only one you really had to worry about was Luke, because he was the only one beating up the Empire, right? Like,
yeah.
So the fact that there's still an Inquisitor chasing Ahsoka,
weird.
just seems odd. A lot of people in the comments still have a hard on for that it's the eighth brother, which makes zero sense because he died in that episode of Rebels in the temple. He's the eighth brother's the one who they ran, who was hunting Maul in
Yeah.
the Sith temple, who was
Yeah.
doing his little helicopter thing away, and he fell. Insane. I know people can survive falls in Star Wars, but then the
I'm pretty
temple
sure you're
exploded
still
and
hoping
collapsed
Mace
on him.
Windu survived the fall, but that different conversation.
Mace Windu has a better chance of being alive than the eighth brother. And not only that is, why would you bring back a character who is pretty much insignificant? Like,
he's useless.
He was only in that one episode of Rebels. Like, people aren't going to be like, oh, it's the eighth brother.
It's the eighth brother. Jerome, or whatever his name was. Like, no one cares.
So just drop it, everyone. It's not him. My thought was, so they say heir to the Empire in the Ahsoka stuff, right? And it's kind of, we get the feel it's going to replace the original Thrawn novels that were called. The first one was Heir to the Empire.
Yeah.
So Thrawn had a bodyguard named Rook, who you saw in Rebels, who died. He was the Nogri. I'm terrible with alien pronunciation, so don't kill me, people. Basically, they were a planet full of assassins. Thrawn had one as his personal bodyguard, and he would send it out to assassinate, kidnap, all the stuff.
Yeah.
They introduced him in Rebels, and he died. So he ain't coming back. So that's one major character Thrawn doesn't have. The other major character in Heir of the Empire is Mara Jade. Who was the Emperor's hand, didn't really was used for Thrawn. She's more Palpatine's, enacting vengeance on his behalf to try to get Luke, but Luke ends up seducing her and marrying her and have kids with her.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they fall in love in Legends.
Luke falls in love with Mara Jade?
Yeah. That's his baby mama.
Oh. Good Lord.
So there's no way they're bringing back Mara Jade as just a random character, getting rid of that Luke arc. It's just not happening.
It'd be so much fun. They could bring that up, tie a little 50 Shades of Grey into it. Let's do this.
Yeah. So if it's not that part of the expanded universe coming over, my only thing I could think of, it's like a new role. It's just kind of a combination, right? Let's just bring in someone who's an assassin type like Rook, but maybe has a tie to the Emperor, the Empire, like the hand of the Emperor, like Mara Jade was, and just have an Inquisitor end up being Thrawn's kind of like person doing his dirty work for him.
All right.
I thought that. The other thing it potentially could be is they just again, the footage for the trailer is likely the first 2 or 3 episodes, right? That's normally how it always is. So this Inquisitor could just be there to set the tone and have Ahsoka off someone real early in a badass moment. Like, it could literally just be that basic.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Or, Maruk, what did I say his name? The name was Merrick.
Maruk, yeah.
Merrick could just be, a fake name for a big, huge reveal. I don't know. I speculated it could be Barriss Offee would be an interesting character because her arc was never finished in the Clone Wars, and her and Ahsoka have a ton of history. But yeah, other than that, it just doesn't really make sense for it to be an Inquisitor hunting Ahsoka, at this timeline.
But let's talk about the Rebels. You've got Chopper, you've got Sabine, you've got Hera, right? Hera. Yeah. Syndulla. Oh my God.
Syndulla,
yeah. Regardless of who the villain is going to be, I mean, is there a series that you have been more excited to see come to life than this? Like, you and I watched Rebels. You convinced me to watch. Sorry, you and I watched Clone Wars. You convinced me to watch Rebels. You're focusing on something very minute in terms of who's going to be that villain. The only villain that matters is Thrawn, and he is the heir to the Empire. Yeah. He's the coolest ass villain in Star Wars history. Whoever's doing his dirty work is literally irrelevant. It's
I don't even really think the Inquisitor is going to end up being that important unless it's a huge reveal. I was just wondering. I was just speculating on who it could be because it just they got a lot of FaceTime in the trailer. But it's big bad's Thrawn and Baylan and Shin.
Mm-hmm.
Those are going to be your 3 main bads, and most of the time.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah.
So pumped.
And I'm of the camp. I've planted my flag in it proudly a long time ago. I enjoy Rebels more than Clone Wars.
That's a bit of a bold
So
statement, but yeah, it's fair.
no, there's other people feel the way. So Rebels season 2, the sequel to the Rebels series, which this pretty much is,
Yeah.
has been the property I've been most looking forward to for a long
Yeah.
time, and we're getting it, which
Cannot
is
wait.
wild.
Yeah.
Sabine, she Force sensitive, or is it a fake out?
Force sensitive.
Fake out.
Think so?
Absolutely. I think it's just clever editing in the trailer. I just think it's clever editing. I know there's moments like she's watching the Ezra hologram talking about what it takes to be a Jedi, but like that would have been recorded before he disappeared, and there was no hints ever in the Rebels series that she was Force sensitive. So that's just clever having that recording play with her listening to it.
Yeah.
There's a scene where she's like defending herself from Shinny. She's holding her hand out like she's about to use repulse on her, but like I don't think she will. Shin even says you have no power. And I think the master line of Ahsoka is maybe she's just teasing her, or I don't know. And I think the training part is I think she's just training her to use Ezra's lightsaber, just like Kanan trained her to use the dark saber.
Yeah,
I think she's just going to be, in order to go on this adventure with Ahsoka, and they're going to run into these two dark Jedis, right? She potentially has to handle a saber, so maybe she's preparing Sabine. I don't know.
There's only one group of people that wielded lightsabers that were not Force sensitive, and they were temple guards, and their sabers were yellow.
They're Force sensitive. I don't know why you always say that.
They were not Force sensitive.
They were Jedis who were like on jury duty.
You sure about that?
Maybe in Legends.
I'm pretty sure the temple guard were normal people with lightsabers that were just there to defend the Jedi. So I can't see them if she's going to wield Ezra's lightsaber. I can't see her not being Force sensitive. Because it's going to have the color.
Yeah, Temple Guards were Jedi Knights pulled from the ranks. Yeah.
That sounds like fake news to me.
Like I said, that's canon.
It sounds like bullshit.
Hey man.
Nope.
That's what Wikipedia says.
I don't want to hear it. Fuck Wikipedia. It's wrong.
There's I don't know. There's a sentiment from like if you want to pull from the Last Jedi that everyone can be Force sensitive, right? Everyone, even Yoda, Force flows through, binds us, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Just certain individuals who are gifted have the stronger midichlorian count and could actually wield the Force to their ability. So I don't doubt that Sabine maybe has a little bit in her, but whether she's not going to be she's not going to be a Jedi.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't believe so.
Fair. When does it start? When's the launch?
August, end of August sometime.
So pumped.
So Mount Tantus, right? We don't see it at all in the trailer, but Mount Tantus on the planet Wayland was an important part of the Heir to the Empire trilogy. That's where Thrawn had his cloning facility.
Correct.
Sorry. It was Emperor Palpatine stored a bunch of artifacts and stuff there, and some of it was cloning. They've kind of picked up that thread in the Bad Batch, and there is legit cloning facility there.
Yeah.
Now, will we see Tantus in the Ahsoka series? And does it tie in maybe with, there's a scene where they're activating that Jedi Temple power or Sith Temple, whatever it is, and said, what can Thrawn bring us? And they're like, power. So
I think
not that cloning is power, but I can't help but feel the Bad Batch hasn't really connected to anything yet past it, right? It's connected before threads, not after. I can't help but think they're going to have a little connectivity there, and we are going to get Tantus. And Thrawn's obviously going to know about it, or he should know about it, considering his rank with Palpatine.
Yeah, I can't. I'm sure that you'll see Tantus. I don't know if it will become an integral part of the series itself, but I think that you will see at least a Tantus tease. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, in the trilogy of books, right? Like that's where the final battle goes down on Planet Wayland. So like I can't help but feel
Yeah.
we're gonna get that, and the Bad Batch has set it up perfectly for us. Um, Now thoughts on, well, let me get your thoughts on our two Dark Jedi, so Balin and Shin.
It's funny. I know very little about them, and this is kind of a
Well,
cool piece for me.
they are brand new characters.
Okay.
They're
Yeah,
not
so it's
existing.
they are characters I know literally nothing about. And it's funny because I've on purpose stayed away from them. It's so easy to get wrapped up in trying to figure out who everyone is before a series starts. And
Yeah.
I saw it, I saw kind of the first thing of it, and I'm like, nope, I literally want to go into this series and learn about them as it happens. So I will humbly say I have zero comment on this, and I don't want to until we start to go down that path. Because
All right. Well,
Star Wars fans are so good at
let me
going
throw
from
some.
0 to 100, right?
Let me throw you some theories
All
and go
right.
0 to 100 with you. So we already talked about how Mount Tantus and some of the other stuff from the books are kind of been already in play and could still be in play. Like they've been setting something up in the background, right?
Yep.
Another element from the books is there was a project called Outbound Flight, and basically it was, again, it's from I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Anyways, the guy who wrote the Thrawn books. I don't know why I'm blanking on him. It was mentioned in Heir to the Empire, and this Outbound Flight project was basically a bunch of ships kind of welded together, more or less. They put on some Jedi Masters, some Padawans, and filled it with a bunch of civilians, and they just launched it out into space, right? So what the point was is to go past the known galaxy into the unknown regions and explore what was out there.
Okay.
Um, there was a Jedi Master on that flight who kind of went a bit crazy, and stuff went bad. And Palpatine had Thrawn and the Chiss intercept the outbound flight and basically destroy it, right?
Okay.
So that, and it ties in because then the Jedi Master from that flight, Joris Seaboth, I don't know how to pronounce it. He ends up being cloned because there's DNA samples of all the Jedis on the flight. He end up being cloned on Mount Tantus, and he becomes, basically villain 1A and 1-2 with Thrawn in the books.
Hmm.
Just to really, really loosely tie that all together.
Okay.
Could Balin and his apprentice Shin have been Jedi on the outbound flight, and Thrawn, who is now in the unknown regions again, right?
Mm-hmm.
After he left with Ezra, he could have built up his Chiss forces or some sort of military out there. Could
Yep.
he have ran into the outbound flight? Again, nothing has to happen the same, but that would be a way for him to be exposed to Jedis, that, because like
Is it
Balin,
possible? Sure, but
yeah,
is it a stretch? Yeah, I think fans are always going to want to see that struggle.
yeah.
I
Well,
think that if they
Balin
tie that in, that'd
says,
be pretty wild. But
yeah. Well, Balin says he knows Anakin. He talks to Ahsoka like Anakin spoke highly of you, and his Padawan has a Padawan braid. It's like they were legit Jedi Master Padawan.
mm-hmm.
So were they just order 66 survivors who flip sides? Again, they're not. I don't think they're Sith. I think they're Dark Jedi, and they're obviously looking and working with Thrawn. Or were they on a ship that got destroyed out in the unknowns, and Thrawn kind of, that
Gave
was
me
the
the
meeting
option.
point, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think for the sake of the story, if it's option number 2, it's going to tie in a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
know.
Filoni knows, there's so much content about Thrawn out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if he's going to use Thrawn as his big bad, I think he knows enough to, not just wipe all that out, right? He can't obviously convert everything 1-to-1, but I think he knows what pieces to pick and use and which ones not to.
Fair. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be. I mean, and I think you just touched on it, right? I mean, the possibilities with what they could do in this series with the amount of content that's been written on Thrawn. I mean, this has the possibility of being a bigger series. It's just which direction are they going to go with it?
Yeah. Well, it's going to culminate in a movie, right? So I think they are expecting it to be quite large.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't think we know. Is Ahsoka just one season? Is Ahsoka going to be 3 seasons till the movie? Like that part, I think is up in
yeah,
the air.
man, I'm not sure.
But yeah, I think not that the outbound flight stuff or even Mount Tantus, all that stuff's going to fit in there. But I will say they will. And again, they can't even bring in Rook, right? Because I said earlier they already killed him in Rebels. Like they will be bringing in some stuff from Heir to the Empire, and I can't help but think we've at least seen some of it already.
That's fair. Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like you don't even like she literally name drops, Heir to the Empire in the trailer, right? Like it can't be more on the nose than that we're going to get
yeah,
some of it. So
yeah, for sure.
but like, in the Heir to the Empire, it's Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie doing everything, right? Ahsoka didn't exist when that trilogy was written. It's like that's already
Have to redo the whole
significantly
thing. Yeah,
exactly. That's why it's already significantly different. That I feel like they got to pull from somewhere else and bring in some of these little pieces to make it work. Maybe not the outbound flight. Maybe there's other reasons for those dark Jedi to exist. But I would guarantee we see Mount Tantus and Wayland and Thrawn using those cloning facilities we see in the Bad Batch.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like I said, I think in this season you'll see hints to it. You'll see pieces of it, but it won't be a main draw until obviously towards the culmination of that in the movie itself.
Yeah. The only other note I had on Ahsoka was to get your opinion on how do you like the look of the cast?
I like it.
Their translations to live action.
I like it. I mean, it's tough, right? It's an animated series.
Yeah.
Ahsoka, I think, was done brilliantly. Chopper, Hera, I think they're all done well. We saw who was it? We saw in Mando.
Zeb.
Zeb. I thought Zeb was done really well. I mean, what they're able to do in live action now is so good, right?
Yeah, Zeb looks great. Chopper looks like he's straight out of the cartoon. Chopper looks phenomenal. But they've had Chopper for a while. Like Chopper's been like a real life built. Like he was in Rogue One. Back when Rebels was first airing, they'd have like a YouTube show called Rebel Recon afterwards, and Chopper would always show up in the office.
Yeah.
So Chopper's looked good for a while. Sabine looks great. Of course, Ahsoka looks good.
Sabine looks super good.
Yeah. The one Thrawn looks good. I made an AI video with Thrawn in it, and the AI could not make blue Thrawn. So what I ended up doing is I asked the AI to make Lars Mikkelsen, and then I just used Photoshop and dyed his blue. He literally looks identical. My AI art looks literally identical to how he looks on screen. So it's like sweet. Like that was the right call.
Yeah.
The one I'm a little and like I know people have been ragging on this one, and some people have been defending it, being like, don't be a dick. But like, hair is a little off for me. And like, I don't even know if it's the look. I think it's the voice. I think that is the most off for me.
I mean, the look was fine.
Yeah, most people are off. Most people are complaining about the look, but I think for me, the voice, like Vanessa Marshall, I think her name was the voice actor for Hair, just had that really, I don't know. Her voice was, I felt, very distinct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas, and again, I've only seen Elizabeth Weinstead's portrayal of Hair in like 3 seconds. So
yeah.
Like, my judgment can change obviously instantly and grow with the character. But if you had to like gun to my head, which one do I think is the worst translation so far? I'd probably
Hera.
say.
Yeah, it's fair.
And again, I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm saying
it could just be the 3 seconds we saw, right?
Exactly. Sometimes you just got to get acclimated to these things.
For sure.
All right. So I think that's all I had for Ahsoka. There's a little bit of news on the Acolytes. It was circling around there that Leslie Headland, the showrunner, had been let go and the series was going to be canceled. And then like 2 weeks later, Leslie Headland made a statement on basically how the Acolyte will have the most Jedis on screen of any Star Wars property. So I'm like, yeah, sounds like she's still making the show and she's not fired. So
Yeah.
that rumor that went around was untrue by the sounds of it. So that's all I had for Star Wars. I had a Marvel question for you.
All right.
I've been seeing this get dunked on a lot on Twitter. What have your thoughts have been about Secret Wars?
Secret Invasion?
Secret Invasion? Is that what it is?
I'm only 2 episodes in.
Why did I think it was Secret War?
So I am only 2 episodes into Secret Invasion. I am not totally up to date. I have been digesting it very slowly. I love it because it's different. It's not a superhero show. It's a spy show. It's like Jason Bourne meets Marvel meets Samuel Jackson. I love it so far. I think the casting is awesome, but it does have almost that Andor kind of slow burn to it where if you want
someone compare that to Andor today.
So if you want the Avengers Assemble, you're going to hate Secret Invasion. But so far, it's been a very cool burn for me.
I've enjoyed it so far. I like Samuel L. Jackson in a lot of things, and I love spy stuff. Has it been my favorite thing? Well, the jury's still out on that. I got to see it to completion. But a lot of people have been calling it boring, and they don't like it. And
it's the same as Andor.
Yeah.
I mean, I was super bummed in the first episode. Obviously, I mean, Maria Hill is the coolest ass character ever because she's just a normal person. But yeah, it's been good, but it is very Andor.
Yeah. For me, not quite as good as Andor, but no, it's good. It's good.
But the beginning of it reminds me of Andor, where people were hating on it. We were like, "Well, hold on."
Oh yeah.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten to the One Way Out episode of Secret Invasion yet. So
I haven't seen today's episode, so I'm gonna watch that tonight.
Yeah. No, I'm only 2 into it.
Yeah, and like Sam's come out and said that the finale is bananas.
Yeah.
Whatever term he used, I'm
cannot
sure
wait.
Use the MF term in it, but
yeah,
you know, I don't. Are they just trying to hype it up to get people back in watching? Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's
all I got.
All right, that's all I got. We've been rambling on here for 42 minutes now, 43 minutes. All right.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. So if you stayed this long, let us know in the comments.
Does Hera sound weird or does she look weird is really the overlaying question. And does anyone give a rat's ass about Villain B if Thrawn is on set? It's really the 2 big takeaways here.
But you may only see, like, Thrawn might only have 5-10 minutes of screen time max this whole season. You know
that is unacceptable.
He could be saved for season 2 to be like front and center. This could be the tease. We got to deal with the 2 Dark Jedis and the Inquisitor for this season before we really sink our teeth into old Blueface.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, let us know in the comments. Let me know any Ahsoka theories you guys have. Are my 2 theories, out to lunch? Do you like them? And you don't have to comment about Disney buying or Apple buying Disney. We know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
And let us know what you think of Secret Invasion. Sorry.
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion. Was there a Secret Wars in Marvel? Let me look this up real quick.
Oh, God. I feel like the Jeopardy music should play in the background with me.
There is. There's a whole comic run about Secret Wars. And it's going to be a movie, I think, 2027. Avengers Secret Wars. That's what it is. Yeah. Okay. See? Not just a pretty face.
You're definitely not just a hat rack. All right. Let's do this again at some point.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
In a minute.
Bye-bye.